How do we construct the BCG matrix? The first step is to look at the different businesses of the company and sort out those businesses into business groups of connected businesses. For instance, let's take a company like ITC, right? Now ITC makes a large number of products, but these products could be sorted out into a few groups, a few strategic business units, a few SBUs. For instance, hotels. Hotels is one, then tobacco is another, consumer goods is the third, paper is the fourth. Okay, so these are four different kinds of products. They make various kinds of paper. So let's put that into all the different kinds of paper into the paper category. They make various kinds of consumer products. Let's put all that into the consumer product category. They make various kinds of tobacco products. Let's put that into the tobacco category. And then they have hotels. So they have 4 SBUs. That's step 1. Step 2 is for each SBU find the relative market share of the company. For instance, in the case of the tobacco SBU, the market share is very high. The company has a very high market share in tobacco products. In the case of the hotel SBU, the company has a reasonable market share. In the case of the consumer products, the company has entered into these products much later, and therefore if you compare it with Hindustan Lever, or you compare it with Procter and Gamble, or you compare it with Nestle, you find that ITC has a much lower market share in consumer products. Paper is another SBU where the company, where ITC has a good market share. So we classify these different SBUs into those which have high market share and those which have low market share. Step 3, we need to look at whether that particular SBU is in a market which is growing fast, or is it in a market which is slowing down or which has slowed down. Here, if you look at tobacco, tobacco clearly is a business which has slowed down. Tobacco has slowed down for health considerations, right? There is much greater health consciousness today, and people do not prefer to use tobacco products. So tobacco is a market which is declining. On the other hand, if you look at paper, it's a market which is growing rapidly. If you look at hotels, it's a market that's growing rapidly. If you look at consumer products, that's another market that's growing rapidly. So that's step 3. Step 4 is that we construct a graph and allot these SBUs to cells as shown in the next slide. What we have done here is those businesses, those SBUs which are in industries having a high market growth rate are put into one of these top two squares, and those with a low market growth rate are put into the bottom two. Those businesses which have a high market share are put into the left hand squares, and those with a low market share are put into the right hand squares. What is interesting here is that, let's say, a product like the tobacco products, which comes here, because the market growth is low, the tobacco market is not growing, but the market share is high. ITC has been in the tobacco business for a long time and has a high share of the market. So the tobacco business therefore generates a lot of money for the company. However, it does not require this company for reinvestment into its own business, because the company is not setting up new tobacco plants, the company is not allowed to advertise for tobacco products, right? Therefore, neither in production nor in marketing can this money be spent. This money is available. Okay. Now look at a product like the consumer products. Consumer products, the market growth rate is high, very high. In India today, the consumer products, for instance, products for different kinds of food items, right, are booming. However, ITC has a low market share for these products. Because ITC has a low market share, therefore ITC does not generate much money from these products. However, the money that it generates from tobacco, and which tobacco does not require, can be used in a product like food products. Okay, so cash from cash cows moves to question marks, and these question marks are then converted into stars. In course of time, what will happen is that the market rate of those stars, the market growth rate of those stars will come down, and the stars will become cash cows and will fund new question marks, which will then become stars. So this is a cycle. Now, from the internal analysis point of view, we must ensure that a successful company has number of products in the question mark area, number of products in the star area, a product or two in the cash cow area, and few products in the dogs area. This is another aspect of internal analysis.